Welcome to the Julius Jooste Show. In this episode, I will be talking to Ibiza icon and percussionist Trace Harris. Trace has traveled the world with his drumming. He's also known as a promoter, model, actor, stuntman, and more recently, a husband and father. And for this interview, we are also exploring his role as an author. Trace has just written a new book called Walking Through Doors, which chronicles Trace's journey throughout his lifetime. The book is split up into three parts and is available on Amazon on Kindle, which is digital, hardcover, or paperback. So please, if you could, I would love to know your secrets or some advice on being a career creative, because now you're an author, but you've been a drummer,
Yes,
or percussionist.
yes. God, yeah.
You've been a promoter, in front of the
Bodybuilder.
camera, model. Yes.
It's a lot. It's a lot of
So,
stuff. So well, this thing people call visualization, which is creativity or manifesting, etc., etc. They're kind of all new words to me, but there's what I've been doing all my life. From a very young age, 5 years oldish, I was given a drum, and I have to leave a lot out because it's a huge book. But that drum led to me, and I'm going to fly right forward now, being a percussionist of a certain substance, and then later representing Ministry of Sound, London, one of the most famous music brands in the world, along with Pasha, etc., etc. So that tapping of a
mhm.
drum as a 5-year-old kid, I went on to being, I still am, I still play everywhere, but I went on to, I suppose, my pinnacle, 7-year world tour percussionist for Ministry of Sound. Now that was done not just talent. Of course, I have a talent, but I just knew how to get myself out there, and I did that. So I became, and still am, a successful percussionist. But this is the key, Julius. Really, I would be a percussionist whether I was broke, whether I was living in a shack, whether I was a billionaire, because I love drumming. If I'm lucky enough to get some travel out of it, and of course I have done, and money from it, it's amazing. But if I get nothing, I still get the same thrill. So I wasn't and didn't set out to be a percussionist for any kind of fame, whatever that means, or etc. So
Mhm.
that's my musical percussion thing. I'm sitting in my meditation room now. There's at least 50 drums around me of all kinds that I've collected from Japan and everywhere. So drums is my thing, if you like. When when I'm 66 years old, so when I was 14, 15, Bruce Lee was still alive. Funny enough, Bruce Lee, kind of
Yes.
one of my idols. I became aware of who Bruce Lee was because I started training, and I just couldn't get big like Arnold Schwarzenegger. My friend, who I trained with, natural big guy. But when Bruce Lee hit the screens, very small, very defined, I went for that kind of look. Now, this led on to me training probably 15 years, and my training partner did a bodybuilding show. For me, in them days, to do a bodybuilding show, you have
Mhm.
to be Mr. Universe or Arnold Schwarzenegger, who by then, when I first knew he wasn't even an actor. Anyway, my training partner went
Mm.
into a show. I decided to do the same training as him, the same dieting as him, etc. And I looked pretty good. I'd already trained for 14 years, I think. And then I decided to do a show. Now, that show led to me doing 5 shows. I won 4. And then I opened a gym
Okay.
because everybody was saying to me, "How'd you get them abs? How'd you get like this?" Etc. So I opened my own gym, and it became pretty obvious to me. A lot of young lads then, this was 25 years ago, the steroid thing, right? The steroid thing has kind of always been there and
Yeah.
underground. I did 4 shows natural. And even if I put a picture of how I looked then now, every single person that clicks on it in Facebook go, yeah, but you're on steroids. They just assume you are. It's a bit like an old school beautiful
Yeah.
woman from them days, Raquel Welch. I mean, look at Shawshank Redemption. She's on the wall. They are natural, beautiful women. But if you was to show that to a
Mhm.
youngish person now, who doesn't know who Raquel Welch is or Jane Fonda or Rita, they will immediately say, yeah, but she's had work done, she's had Botox. No, she hasn't. It's the same thing with bodybuilding, right? So the bodybuilding thing, when I had my gym, young lads who I trained, as soon as they get a bit personal with you, they say, I'm interested in taking steroids, Trace. What's your thoughts on that? And I couldn't answer them with any sort of knowledge of steroids because I hadn't taken them. So I said to these young guys, hundreds of them, by the way, over the 5 years I had my gym, I suggest you train a minimum 10 years. You build a foundation, natural foundation. And then in 10 years' time, if for whatever reason you feel you may need to take these enhancements, then think about it again. But train first, like I did. Then I was getting kind of bombarded by questions. So I decided to go into my 5th show, a big show. And I thought, I'm going to take some of these steroids. I'm healthy. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I'm going to experiment on myself. I'm not addictive. So if they're amazing, I can just say no more. I took them. And I entered a big show. And I came third. I looked big and I was bigger and I looked good. But the guy that won was from another planet. He was just... He went on to be Mr. Universe, I think. But I came third. And that was an eureka moment for me because he came to see me. He said, Trace, well done coming third. I saw you a few years ago. Can I ask you what gear you took, what steroids you took? And I said, I didn't then. I said, why? He said, have you taken them now? I went, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, all right. He said, please, can I say something to you? Stop. He said, I said, because I didn't know. I was either going to go his way into that world or back off. So he said, what did you take? This is steroid talk, which is just normal talk to anyone that trains now. And I said, I had a Sustanon jab once a week and a Deca jab the next week for 6 weeks. He said, I take what you take in 6 weeks a day. That was my moment, Julius, to think for a plastic trophy for bodybuilding, and look at it now, it's crazy. I went into modelling and TV extra work and films, actually, work in films, some good films, just as an extra. Later a stuntman in some films, Mortal Kombat. This is all egotistical stuff, but it's great. So I backed away from that steroid world. Now this is my point. They all look the same because of chemicals. The training's so much, chemicals is so much. All bodybuilders, top bodybuilders now, they're amazing, but they're freaky and they're not aspiring because they're just from another planet. They're literally like the Hulk. So you take all the heads off the bodybuilders, you can't even tell who's who because they're so incredibly developed. So I'm so glad that I grew up in a world of looking up to Bruce Lee and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Claude Van Damme and etc.
People say that when it comes to success, it's the sort of thing that you attract. It's not the sort of thing that you chase. And a personal mantra of mine has been, success is always looking for a good home. And what that means is, if my life is in order, if it has space for growth, if it is attractive, then success will want to knock on my door. And would you say that it's the same with love and intimate relationships?
All these things that I did, I wanted to be a drummer, I became very successful. I wanted to be a bodybuilder, I was successful. I wanted to get on TV, I got on TV. I just knew how to get there. And I'm doing it now with my book that we mentioned earlier on. I'm an old school promoter. That was another 25-year career of mine. All the tactics, old school tactics, selling from the back of a car, putting up posters, talking to people, word of mouth. I'm doing it again with my book. And it's mind-blowing. It's like I'm 21 again, promoting my gym or a bodybuilding show. But I think you make most of these things happen. Right place, right time. Seize the moment. The name of my book, Walking Through Doors, is another word for seize the moment. Look beyond the door.
So I do have 2 follow-up questions. The first one with the bodybuilding. I'm recently back in the gym, and it's my first time using a supplement, and I'm using creatine with great benefit. So I'm happy using it, and I'm happy staying there. I've got no aspirations to be an 8-pack model or what have you. For me, it's really just about longevity, making sure that my body is strong, that as I get older, there's not atrophy, and I
Very
can
important,
improve
and
or,
well
or
done
stay
for
at an
that.
improved quality of life as I progress. And then the second thing, it has to do with what you were mentioning towards the end. Um, if you had to uh, if you had to guess, how much of what you've achieved was because of intention?
Great question. I've made these things happen. It is pure visualization, manifestation at the core. I have learned that, and let's talk about extravagance, right? And this is extravagant. I wanted a Ferrari. I imagined I'm in a Ferrari. I imagined I've already got the Ferrari and I get one. Now, that's just one egotistical thing. It's a car, right? But then when I look back, especially this book I've written, and I wanted to be up on that stage with friends cheering me, I imagined being on that stage and everything else. So this is what I believe answers your question. Imagine you've already got it and stick with that feeling. I've got that house I really wanted. I've drawn a picture of a house and I found that house. It's because you're imagining you've already got it. I believe if you think I'm going to get that, I'm going to be a billionaire next week, you're pushing it away, you're
Mm.
pushing it away, you're pushing it away from you because it's next week, next week. You've somehow, whether it's just a small step to acquire, to find something
Mm.
at a car boot sale or a second-hand shop, or say, you've got to imagine you're going to go, you collect records, right? I'm going in that old record shop because I know there's a Pink Floyd album in there, Dark Side of the Moon. It's just in there. Imagine you looking at it. So I believe luck is a great thing, but you do make your own luck because, and it's not permanent. You can you can falter, you can stumble. You just got to get upright and get back on that positive track. I'll give you an example. There's so-called such a thing as a
Yeah.
positive and negative person. We are all both of those intermingled. If you get up in the morning, someone, and you stub your
Hmm.
toe when you get out of bed, and it hurts, and then you drop your toothbrush, and then your car don't start, and then you're late for work. Anyway, all that stuff are steps because you're in that mindset of everything's going to go wrong today, and things will go wrong for all of us. But if you're able, when you stub your toe in the morning, right, it hurts. If you're able to kind of rejig your mind and power on with something nice,
Yes.
something light, something bright, something beautiful, it comes back. It comes back. It's natural for some of us to always be positive, but some of us have to use tools. We have to put on
Mm.
reserves of good stuff. And I mean, sadly, there may be some people, bless them, that just doesn't have any good stuff.
Yes.
If you could, this sounds a bit of a weird thing to say, but some of these people, I'd love to find a way to hypnotize them, whether they don't think they're attractive or they're not successful. And just if you could find a way to let them believe they are, it's a placebo effect. They will become, and they will find that if they stick with it and stick with it. So,
Yes.
so as an advice thing, we all know drama people. They're so into drama. You see them on posts on Facebook or Instagram, and everything is drama. I haven't got the time for this with some people, but I'd love to be able to sit them down and say, just do this, just try this. And if it goes wrong, don't go, oh, here we go again. Like a relationship of a partner, right? I
Mm.
seem to choose the same women all the time. Well, hello, you know, I, I, yeah, well, the same women. There's the word, the same. Go something out of your comfort zone. You mentioned Sylvia, right?
Yes.
Sylvia, my wife, you asked me that question. How did I know she was the one? Well, I'm a relationship person. I've had my moments when I've been single and I thought, well, let's go out and have a load of sex and all that. It's all right, but it's just an extension of masturbation, I think. I like a relationship where you are really wonderful friends. Sylvia is so
Hmm.
different to anyone I ever have been with, fallen in love with, and all that kind of stuff. And she's the kind of opposite of me. She's quiet, and it just kind of works. When I'm with Sylvia, I'm look, I'm talking to you now, and I'm kind of excited, but that's okay. When I'm with Sylvia, I calm down. I I relax. Sylvia is my medicine and all that kind of stuff. So how did I know the one? I just knew. I just knew. A year before I met Sylvia, I was interviewed on Ibiza, about Ibiza Men, it's called anyway. And they so Trace, I've got this interview. It's great. Where will you be in 1 year's time? They asked me this question, and it's in print, right? And I said, okay, I'm single now. Uh, Intentionally, I just want to play my drums at Benny Rass, etc., etc. I can feel someone making their way to me. I was a bit fluffy and philosophical and spiritual with this answer. I can feel someone's coming to me. It's going to come to me. And when I see this moment, this person, I will know. So talk to me in a year's time, and I'll tell you her name. And that's the end of the interview. And sure enough, recognize it. We're attracted to what we see, but there's got to be more than that. You've kind of got to look beyond the beauty, beyond the stunning body and all that kind of stuff, and you kind of got to naturally feel a different vibe rather than just an erection. You know what I mean? So it's something to do with that, and age as well. Look, I'm older, so I don't want to just, especially where I live in Ibiza.
Yes.
There's so many
Yes.
great-looking people, great-looking men, and I guess I'm not calling myself a great-looking man, but Sylvia has said this. And I said, because people said, "Oh, Trace is a player," which means I'm a womanizer. I am very, very got wonderful women friends. Most of them, because I've never tried anything with them, so they're my friends, male or female, doesn't matter. It's just a nice connection. So Sylvia, the reverse of what I just said, saw beyond this flash bloke playing the bongos at Bennyras, with some people around him, because she was, if you like, warned off of me. Thank God she didn't listen to those tongue wagging people. Nothing wrong with that. We have our son now. Look at, I have a son at 66, Zam. You mentioned him earlier. So I felt different with Sylvia beyond any other person I've ever had a relationship.
So I know that we're pressed for time and that we're running on 20 minutes. I was hoping that maybe you had a few minutes to talk about your experience of becoming a father for the first time.
I was 63. I was with Sylvia. I've met this woman I'm going to be with all my life. I just know it. But I've got no children. I love children. I train children. I teach children music, and people keep saying me, Trace, they've said this to me 40 years. You'll make a great dad. Now, my lifestyle before was a bit too active, traveling around the world and all this kind of stuff. But when I came to this, it's all about Ibiza, I think. When I came to this island and I found my peace on one of the craziest places on earth, but I found my kind of peace here. I found my beautiful woman here. Sylvia was 35. Beautiful. Now, I asked Sylvia, because I took my age into account. I said, Sylvia, I didn't say let's have children, but I said it differently. I said, if we never had children, are you okay with that? Because I didn't really know, a woman will always go yes, but they don't always mean yes. So she seemed fine with it. She seemed okay with it. However, after 5 years into our relationship, which was all going, it was all lovely. I thought, I wondered why, because we make, let's get personal. We make love a lot, and Sylvia never got pregnant because I never took precautions, but she never got pregnant, and I felt something not right. So I decided to have a fertility test. Now we're getting to the point, because I'd done them steroids, right? And I started Googling, could taking testosterone affect my sperm and all that. So anyway, I had which I had to pay for this in Ibiza. That don't matter. I had a sperm count test, or whatever you call it, during the blimmin' COVID thing, the beginning of that COVID thing, I think. And the doctor told me I have he didn't say low, he said no, no sperm mobility. Now, it didn't bother me that much. So he basically said, I can't have children unless I have an operation. So, of course, I told Sylvia this, and I weren't sure. She still said, that's okay. But she said this the next day. She said, Trace, trust me for a year. And Sylvia kind of used me as a personal alchemy experiment. She'd done all these ancient experiments on me that she'd learned from a book called Anastasia. It's a Russian book about a girl in the forest. It's about alchemy and witchcraft and all that. So Sylvia, being the woman she is from Romania, very interesting, different woman, done all these bizarre ceremonies on me. And they were funny. Well, they wasn't all funny. I didn't like the one where I had to be naked and wrapped in a bush with hemp cloth around me and then go to sleep. I didn't like that one. But she done all these drinking potassium, very weird things, really funny thing for a year on me over the course of a year. Different ceremonies and really weird stuff. Anyway, a year later, she said, Trace, she said this, God, I've got to write about this. She said, go and get tested again. COVID was full on now. So when I went to the hospital in Ibiza, Sylvia wasn't allowed to come in with me. She had to wait outside with one of those masks on. So I go in, I don't speak Spanish, and I'm wondering now, because I'm now thinking Sylvia wants children, shit. And if I can't have them, am I holding her back from being a mummy? So I go and have this test. And I'm really nervous because I don't speak Spanish and I'm in Ibiza and I feel a bit guilty about that. So the doctor's talking Spanish to me. I'm pretending I can understand him. And I see, and he's looking at this chart. And I said, excuse me, do you speak English? And he switched from Catalan Spanish to London Cockney. He went, yeah, of course I do. My mum's English. I went, he just switched. He took my pressure, because I didn't really know whether I'd understand the result, went flying. I said, wow. I said, okay.
Amazing.
I said, look, thanks for doing my hemoglobin and my B count and my cholesterol, because Sylvia said do that for him as well. I said, can I have children? This wasn't the same doctor, by the way. I said, can I have children? He went, yes. So I said, explain that. He said, because I did another sperm test, right? He said, no, he said the word like a Cockney, I suppose, which I am. He said, no, you're ready to go, mate. I went, okay. So I came out.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvia was in the waiting room, and he said, I'm okay. Sylvia lost it because she then thought it's her. Maybe she's the reason. And now I'm going to get to the final part. It's a beautiful story. It needs to be said a bit differently, actually. So something happens, and I won't go into that too much because Sylvia might be offended, but we make love. On the roof of my old house at Abango near Amnesia. Why Amnesia is open and you can see all the lights from the nightclub, because I lived 100 yards from Amnesia, used to. And Sylvia, that night, when I'm about to go to sleep, she said, Trace, I'm pregnant. The very night. So she says that night I'm pregnant. And I just thought, oh, she's just saying that because she's a bit emotional and, women, blah, 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 and all that. Anyway, a week went by. And she showed me one of those test things and I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm from Essex in England. We don't even know what they are. A couple of weeks went by and she showed me a new one that was more highlighted. Still don't know what's going on. She then said, come to the doctors. We go to the doctors and they test Sylvia and they said, yes, you are pregnant. Your baby will be due about April the 20th. And Sylvia, listen to this, right? This is true. Said, no, he'll be born May the 1st. She didn't say it arrogantly, but she said, no, he'll be born May the 1st. And they went, huh? So they look at their computer and their charts and their doctor next to them. They said, oh, no, it'd be about mid-April. Sylvia said, no, I promise you it'll be May the 1st. So I thought Sylvia was just being a bit... I don't know what she was doing. Well, Zam was born May the 1st. And and I had this little boy, and I'm the age I am now, and I spend 23 hours a day with him, 22 today, because we're nearly an hour with each other, me and you, right? She's outside my back garden. We've just been driving in my car with Zam on her lap asleep, because I've just been to the hub in Ibiza to be interviewed, actually. So you asked me the question about Zam. I think I've kind of answered it a bit too much, really.
I want to share that my story to Ibiza started as a calling. It was something that happened when I was very young, probably in my teens. And as I got older, I got the resources and the opportunity to visit the island for a 2 week holiday. Um, and that 2 week holiday turned into a 7 year photography assignment. And I suspect that it was very much the same for you. Could you perhaps share about how you ended up on the island?
I did a massive event in London called Smarty Party. It's my own event in London, and off the back of that, it was so huge. Of course, being that special night in London at my venue overlooking the Thames, the Glass House. I used to
Mm-hmm.
own that. I was invited to Ibiza, and I hadn't been before. I just, for some reason, I don't know why I hadn't been. And they said, Trace, do you want to do a party here? And I thought it'd be in a little bar somewhere in San Antonio. And they said, we want you to do the
Okay.
opening of Privilege nightclub, the biggest club in the world, or one of them, and a great club then. It might be again when it opens as Universe, I don't know. But my first experience of Ibiza, my night, Smarty Party, and I brought that here with my decor in that huge club. I have a video of this, actually, a great video of this. All the setup. I get to the airport, I'm picked up, I'm taken to Playa d'Embossa to a hotel. I'm on the beach. There's flyer teams in Millennium you could do flyer in, giving out flyers. I looked over, think, oh, I wonder where they're flyering. My flyer. And he even brought one over to me, and I didn't say. I was too shy. I wasn't shy. I didn't want to say, but that's me. It was my night. And it blew my mind, of course. But I never saw nothing. I saw the hotel, the privilege, of course. My decor got stripped down in the morning, put in a truck, and I'm on the beach,
Mm.
just laying there thinking, my God, well, what is this place? And that planted a seed to me. And then I came back again and did Space Terrace. This is my promotional side now, which was very stressful. The privilege thing was brilliant, and they paid me a franchise, so I had no financial risk, and it was
Mm.
very huge, and it catapulted my promotion Smarty Party to take me. I've even been to Cape Town with it. It took me to 25 countries for 18 years, but I ended up stopped doing those kind of parties. Sankey's asked me to do stuff, and I ended up doing Bora Bora for 5 years, which was great. And
Wow.
then at some point, I wound my party down. I kind of had enough of it. 19 years, so I diversified and did other stuff and came here to live after the millennium. There's a lot more involved in this, but I came here 2013 to live, and I came here to calm down. The craziest place in the world to calm down. Just started doing my
Mm.
own little things. I still do now. My own little parties. I'm going to be starting one actually in April in word of mouth because a friend of mine owns that, Harry. I'm probably going to be doing a weekly there, but it won't be a smarty party. It'll be live music combined with art visuals. It will be DJ live band, DJ live band, DJ live band from 4 o'clock till 12. And I'm going to plant that seed and do it because I still love promoting, but not at a huge level no more. I would not do it.
Are there any closing remarks, perhaps a mantra or something, a message that you would like to share with people that are listening to this interview?
Ibiza, especially, is the DJ phenomenon place. It still is. You'll always get London, Berlin, Germany have great clubs, etc. But Ibiza still retains a beautiful thing. Many people say Ibiza's not what it used to be, and yes, there's a ridiculous VIP side, but there still is. People don't like that word hippie, and maybe that's the wrong word. But you can still live here beautifully without having to have extravagant money, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. So that's a mindset. So if your mindset is in Ibiza or anywhere in the world, this place or London,
Mm-hmm.
this place is over for me. It's crap. I hate it, or it's changed, or it's not like what it used to be. Nothing is like what it used to be. Nothing, nowhere will ever be like what it used to be again. So the words everything is what you make it is so really true. You can find goodness in everything and seek that. If you seek
Mm.
bad, it's the negative thing again, right? You're just going to find bad. So just find time to find some peace in your mind. A lot of very rich people and entrepreneurs and business people can never slow their mind down. They can never rest at all. I now. This is a me thing. Do this hang drum thing. It's called sound healing, but I don't like that word, sound healing. I'll give you an example. There's a DJ called Sam Divine. She's great. She's flying. In the summer, she cannot shut down for 1 minute because it's 6 months of DJ sets and whatever else goes on. At the end of the season, I helped her bring her heart rate down just by coming here in this room I'm sitting in now and just talking to her. Like, I'm going to even do it to you now. So I started talking to her slowly, and her heart rate, I would imagine, went down a little bit. And I try and get her to rest a little bit, and I play that beautiful instrument. And when I did it here for Sam, she fell asleep. And I didn't say it's over now, so I didn't charge her nothing. I didn't say it's over now, good night. I just went to bed and left her on the floor, comfortable, in my meditation. I don't know how long she was there for, but the next time I spoke to her, she's in London, and she said, Trace, I slept. I went, yeah, you was asleep. I said, Trace, I haven't slept for months. And this is the same with a lot of forward-thinking entrepreneurs. You've got to find peace. You've got to try and find a moment, whether it's a sunset, or it's a nice forest, or it's a nice beach, I don't know, a baby, to calm your mind and consciously do it until it becomes natural. So the words of wisdom, if I'm allowed to give words of wisdom, is find time for yourself. You, just you. It's not selfish, because the stronger you are, the more you can help anyone, if that's your purpose. Just find time for you to relax and maybe don't think. Try that. Don't think, just be. Yes. So that's what I'm going to say. That's it.
Just want to take a moment to thank Trace for his time, and with that, ask my audience for their feedback. With this new format, what did you like? What didn't you like? And what would you like more of? Please reach out to me via Twitter at Julius Jooste. That's Julius Jooste. And if you'd like to learn more about me and my creative journey, feel free to visit the website juliusjooste.com. That's JuliusJooste.com.